Hello everyone, my name is Ankit Jain. I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. Today's video is the continuation of our Mill Hunt project that we are working on. In case you folks didn't got a chance to check out the part 1, I will put the link in the video description. Do check that out. In this project, basically, we are building a public facing website using which you guys can go and search for the different recipes. For example, this is what our final output will look like. For if I take you to my demo site that I have already built, this is what we are building, where the user can go and search for the recipe. For example, here if I come and search for the recipes, I am showing the different recipes here. User can click on this recipe, get the details about that recipe as well. Moreover, we are also making sure that the website that we are building, it is mobile responsive as well. For example, like you can see here, if I am switching it into this mode, my tiles, it is showing the two tiles in the one row. Again, if I further reduce it, it will show one tile in one row. Again, my input is also adjusted. So that's what we will be building, folks, in this project. In addition to that, there are a few more learnings that you guys can have from this project. Basically, how to do the communication between the components, how to make an API calls from the LWC components as well. I hope you folks found this project helpful and get few learnings from this project as well. So before we get start implementing this project, again, in case you folks like to connect with me, you can definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can connect with me on the LinkedIn as well. And you can also join the Telegram channel where we discussed all the queries that you do encounter in your Salesforce journey. Again, these are the different learnings that you can have from this project. I already covered in detail in the part 1. So I am fast forwarding it. We already had a demo. Now, before we move further, what we discussed and what we have built in the part 1 is this section. So we come up with this particular header where the user can go and enter the item to search. If the user clicked on the search recipe and click on the inspect button, if I navigate to the console, you will see that I am loading all the recipes by making an API call. So this is what we have built in the part 1. In the part 2, we will be building this particular tiles where we will be loading the data that we are getting after making an API calls into this tile form. So without wasting much time, we can get started. Again, in the last part, we have already built few of the components. The first component that we have built here, that is our master component, is the Meal Hunter. If I navigate to the Meal Hunter, so this part we have already built in the part 1 where we are making the search. Now in this section, we will be building this part where we will be loading the data, and also we will be creating the tiles as well. So what I will do, I will navigate to the load mail result component, navigating to the JavaScript file. This is the property that we have defined in the last part. Let me go and initialize this as an array because we will be getting the multiple inputs here. Now the next thing that I will be doing here is I have to go and display this section only and only when I do have the values available in the mail result. So what I will do here, I will go and define one getter method which will check for the mails. In case the meals are available or the recipes are available, then and then only we go and display this. So what we will do here is we will simply go and return. In case I do have the meal result, that is the array length, it is greater than 0, then it will return true. Otherwise it will return the false. That's the one simple check that we are putting here by checking whether we actually have the meal result to show. Now again, if I navigate back to my HTML file now, so basically I have to show anything on my card only and only if I do have some result. Again, how to check if whether you do have any result or not, by using the template LWC if. Here I am checking for the result. In case the result is available, then and then only we can go and show that result here. Definitely you can add the else condition here and put a informational message for the end user to check out for other mails or not. That's definitely an addition that can be happen here, but again, I'm not building it. Let's, you folks can take that as an assignment and write down the else condition and give an informational message to the user either in the toast form or in the message form that try out for another mail. But now in case the data is available, then what we have to do here is we have to go and display that data. Again, I want to display that data in the form of tiles, and for that tile I want the background that should be coming up here. It should be a white background. So to get this white background here, I am putting the lightning card. Now the next thing I have to make sure that this tiles that I am getting here, it must be responsive. To get that responsive tiles, I am taking the help of the grid SLDS. And again, if you scroll down to the right, you can see the responsive layout option. So here I want to build it for the mobile, tablet and the desktop. So I'm taking this option from here. They have already given some sample code. You guys can directly copy that sample code and put it here. Again, let me get this formatted so that it looks much better. Now, this is the section that I have to go and load dynamically. So what I will do here is I will simply keep only one span for now. Okay, and now this is the section as we have to go and load based on the mail result that we are getting. So here I go and iterate to get the mail result. So here I am putting template for each for item, right? And this is how my template will end up here. Now, as I am using the for each, what I have to iterate here is the mail result. So let me go and define here the mail result, and at a time I'm accessing one mail. So let me go and put the for item name here as the mail. Again, now this is where I have to go and load the grid. But whenever we are using the template for each, it is mandatory to go and specify the key ID as well. So what I will do here is here I go and populate the key, and my key here will be the mail dot. Now key must be the unique. So what is the unique key? Based on our output data, we are already printing it. Here you can see that the input, uh, sorry, the unique value here will be the ID mail. So I will be using this as the unique value for my key, and definitely the class is something that I am already populating here. Now coming back to the class, in the class what I have to go and make sure that whenever it is loading on the mobile device, it is showing only one component. Whenever it is loading on the tablets, it should be showing the two components, so that's also good. But whenever it is coming up on the desktop, it should be showing the three components. Currently the size is not good, so let me go and change it to 4, so that for each component will take the 4 columns out of the 12. That's how you can go and read this. So we have made our component responsive as well, as simple as is by adding the SLDS grid. Now the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and put the tiles. Again, I don't want to go and define the tiles here. I want to create a separate component for the tile. So let me go here and create another component with the name of mail tile component. Okay, so this is my component name, and in this mail tile, basically what I will be getting here is the mail that I am iterating. So here I go and put c hyphen mail hyphen tile hyphen cmp, and what we are getting here is the mail. So let me go and define that. So I need to go and define one public property here because I am passing the data from parent to child, and to pass the data from parent to child we use the API decorator. My load mail result will be the parent component and the mail tile component will be the child component here. And again, to pass that data, I have defined the API property. So this is how I can go and pass the data from parent to child. Now moving to the next part, which is very important, I have to go and build this tile component now. So again, this is I already have my mail available here. I can navigate to the HTML file. Let's try to understand what all different things that we are doing in this component. So we do have one card. So for that card, let me go and add one division. So let's say I'm giving the class name here as the card. Now inside the card, I do have an image first. So let me go and add the image tag. src is equal to my image will be coming up from the mail dot. What is the property for the image? Again, if I go here, you will see that the property for the image here is str mail thumbnail. So let me go and add that property here. Now the next thing that I have to go and put up here is the uh, alternate name. In case the image is not there, I should be showing the alternate name for that image. For that, I will be using the str mail attribute. So here I'll be using the alt is equal to, that is the mail dot str mail. Okay, so in case there is no image, that is what I'll be putting. Now the next thing that I need to go and put here after the image, here is this part. Again, this is something which is coming up from the, again, the meal name. So what I will do here is, basically this is nothing but a content. So let me go and add another class here for the card content. I'm adding these classes because later I will go and write down the appropriate CSS for it so that I can have the much better look and feel. Now inside this, I'll be adding one heading tag, and my heading tag, as I said, it should be the meal.str meal only. Okay. And again, this also I have to go and format. So let me go and put up here as a header. Okay, I'm giving the class name here as the header because this is something, again, I want to go and change the font and increase the size. That's why I'm doing it. Similarly, after that, I'll be putting the next thing here is this information. So again, this information is coming up is a combination of str area and the str category. So let me go and add another p tag here. And here I'll be putting the meal dot, what is that, str area hyphen, again the meal dot str category. Okay. And again, for this also I want to go and add some CSS. So let me go and add some CSS here as the detail section. Now we are done with this part, this part, this part. Now in the last, I do have the button as well. This is a normal button. This is not a lightning button. So I am using the HTML button here. So outside the content, I am creating one button more. So let me go and put here button. Again, for the button, let me go and define one button here as the recipe button, on the click of which I have to go and perform some operation, right? So here I am defining the on click handler. Let me give this as a recipe handler, and also I am giving the button label here as the recipe. So recipe. This is how I have defined my a small component which is having the, which is coming up finally as this card. Now the next thing that I have to do here is I have to go and write down this respective CSS that I have already defined. So let me go and create one component inside this file to write down the CSS. For that, we have to make sure that my name is always the same. So let me go and copy this name, and inside the same folder, I am creating the CSS file with the .css extension. Make sure that your CSS file name and the component name is same. Now, what all the different CSS classes that I have defined? First one is the .card class. Second one here is the, okay, for the image, I have not defined any class. So let me go and define one class for the image as well. That is the meal-image. Okay, and I will go and write down some CSS for this as well to have the better look and feel. After that, I am defining another class with the name of card content. After that, I am putting another class with the name of header. Another class with the name of detail. Okay. And in the last, I do have a class with the name of recipe button. These are the different CSS classes that I have to go and build. Again, I have already built those classes when I was building this project. Your CSS, my CSS can be different because your preference of using the CSS and my preference of using the CSS can be different as well. And that's completely fine. Here we are not learning actually how to write down the CSS. Basically, we are learning how to work with the Lightning Web Component. CSS is the very basic concept that you guys might already know from the web technologies. So let me go and define the card attribute here with the different attributes that I already experienced. So here I go and define the max width as the 350 pixel. Again, I'm radically writing down this value because I have already tested all these values and it is working good for me. So let me put up here the 20 pixel auto. You guys can also take the help of ChatGPT and all those stuff to write down this kind of a CSS. You don't have to be pretty much expert in write down the CSS. Okay, so let me go and put here the box shadow as 0, 10 pixel, 20 pixel, and RGBA. Those who worked on the CSS, They already know that CSS is always more like a try and an error thing. What might work for you, that might not work for the others as well, right? So it's always about your preference. So here I am putting the transform point to is in out, and the font family that also I am defining here is the Helvetica. Let me go and see if it is giving me that option. Yes. Okay. Let me not have these different attributes for now. So here I go and remove it. So this is how my card is coming up. Now, if you see, observe here, if I am taking my cursor over the card is coming forward, right? So this kind of behavior can be added on the CSS by adding another method, that is the hover method. So that's what I am doing here. I am adding another method here. And what I am saying here is add the transform attribute with the scale of 1.05, so that whenever the cursor will hover over that particular card, it will automatically come forward. Now we have applied the CSS to the card. Now next thing, we'll go and apply the CSS to the image as well. Here I want the width of the image must be 100%. Height of the image must be 220 pixel, and the image must be fit to the cover here. Now the next thing that we will go here, we will go and apply the CSS to this card content as well. So here I go and add the padding from all the sides. So let me go and put the padding as 15x. I am putting the background color as white. And the text that is coming up here, it should be aligned to the left. Similarly, I want to apply the CSS to the header as well. For the header, I am increasing the font size to 24 pixel. And the next thing, I'm also adding the margin from the bottom, that is the 10 pixel. Next thing that I will go here is I will go and apply the CSS to the detail section as well. To the detail section, I want a specific color. You guys can see here, I do have the specific color here. And for that, I can go and add the color attribute. The color that I have already tried is FF6, F61. Okay, and after that, I am putting the font size here as 20 pixel, and in the last, I am also putting the margin bottom here as 10 pixel. Now in the last, I am also putting the recipe button. For this button, let me go and add some CSS. So for that button, again, I want the width should be 100%. It should have the padding of padding of 12 pixel. Background color for this button, again, it should be the same as this one. So let me go and put the same background color here as well. After that, I am putting the text of the color inside this should be white. So FFF. Again, I don't want the border. So let's say border I am putting here as none. The font of the color. This is the font size should be, let's say, 18 pixel. Whenever I'm taking the cursor here, it should be coming up as the pointer, right? You guys can see that hand symbol is coming up. That is nothing but a pointer. So here I am putting the cursor as pointer. And again, I am putting the transition here as well. Let's say, again, I'll be putting the 0.2 second is in out transition here as well. So this is how I want to go and write down the different CSS. Moreover, if you guys can see here, whenever I am hovering over it, the color of the button is also getting bit darker. So again, you guys can apply the similar analogy here as well. Whenever on the recipe button, if anyone is hovering over it, then you can go and change the background color from this color to a bit darker version, that is hash E65A50, something like this. So we are done with the HTML. We are done with the CSS. Now the next thing that we have to do here is we have to go and write down the appropriate CSS here. Again, we have to go and write down the appropriate JavaScript here. To do that, I am navigating to the JavaScript. Now here under the recipe handler, what I want to do here is whenever the user is clicking on the recipe, I want to share the recipe ID of that component back to the parent. So whenever we have to do the communication from the child back to the parent, we always take the help of the custom event. So here also I'm taking the help of the custom event is equal to new custom event that I am creating here. I am giving the name of the event here as recipe, and the data that I will be passing here, I'm putting it under the detail section. So what I have to pass here is the meal dot whatever the ID of that meal. So let's say ID of that meal, I will be getting it from the ID meal. So that is what I will be passing back to the parent component. So this is how I am creating my custom event. That's the first step. The second step here is I should go and dispatch my custom event, and I'll be passing that custom event here. So this is how we have created the tile on the selection of recipe. I am passing that recipe details back to the parent. Now let me go and deploy this. Now, so let me go and handle this event at the parent as well. So we're firing here this as the event. So again, if I go back, I will be handling that event here with the name of on recipe. Whatever the event name, it must be prefixed with on. And here I go and put that is the handler, that is the recipe handler. So whatever the event that has been fired, I can go and handle that event here. Now let me again navigate back to the JavaScript, and here I go and write down that recipe handler. Now what I will do here is whatever the event value that we have received, I will go and access that event value here. Again, to do that, we have to go and read the values from the event. So let me put up here, let selected meal ID is equal to event dot detail, because in that variable only we are storing the value under the detail property. So here I'll be go and put event dot detail, and for our reference simply I will go and log that event, so that at least till this part we can check whether the functionalities are working as expected or not. So let me go and deploy this too. So we have modified the two components here, that is the load result component and also the meal tile component as well. Let me come here, refresh the page, and we'll check whether the functionalities are coming up as expected or not. Okay, we are getting one error here that cannot read undefined properties of the length. We will check about this. This error is coming up from the check meals function. Let me go and quickly have a look. Where is that? So get, I do have the check meal function. I do have the meal result defined. Here I am checking for the length. In case the length is not greater than 0, then we are not loading that component. Why it is failing, I'm not sure. Okay, we will look about it later. Let's see whether the functionality is getting stopping us or not. Here, if I type the soup and click on the search recipe, you guys can see that my recipes are coming up here, right? Moreover, if I come here, click on the inspect, and if I select any of this recipe, the expectation here is the recipe ID should also come up. So let me come here and click on one of the recipe. You guys can see that my recipe ID is also coming. So most of our functionality is working as expected. The only thing that we are getting here is one error. So I will try to figure this out error in the third part, and we'll let you know, because you guys can see the error is also not consistent. So we have to go and try to understand what is exactly the error and when that error is coming. Because if I go and refresh it one more time, okay, sometimes the errors are coming, sometimes it is not. So we have to go and understand the behavior, and accordingly we have to go and build it. I will keep that for the part 3, but most of our functionalities are working expected, and we are getting that recipe ID as well. I hope you folks found this session helpful and got the learning from this part as well. In the next part, basically we will be building the further logic on the click of the recipe. This modal should be coming up, so that's what we will be building. in the next part, and also we will be putting our component on the digital experience as well. Thank you. Have a good time.